What is up,
And can you
checkmaters? Good morning.
good morning, Pete. How are you doing?
I'm very tired, but I'm excited to discuss the finer points of strategic thinking.
I was up late last night myself, beating somebody in a tournament chess game. It was wonderful. Had a beautiful rook sacrifice, chased the king all over. Awesome. It's exactly
Congrats.
why I play the game. I see that you've been playing quite a bit this week.
Yeah,
So
I got
excited
into
to
it.
see that. And you've got some wins under your belt.
Yeah, yeah, and some
How's it
losses.
feeling?
It's feeling like I get got by what seems like some kind of patterned open that is just invisible to me because I haven't studied them. Um,
Oh,
but
we're
if
going
I
to talk about those
Yeah,
today.
I figured, and if I go slowly and I can try and like deconstruct what they're trying to do, um, sometimes I can get ahead of it, but sometimes it's already too late.
So I've been taking a look at your games. We can definitely get you out of these puzzles here. I think
Hmm.
that we can figure out ways that you can think yourself out of the box, basically. The first thing I want to say though is that getting out of such a thing requires that you do think.
Hmm.
And so I want to make sure that we are using the time on your clock in the best way possible. You have 10 minutes. It doesn't make any sense if you end a game after, say, 20 moves and you've got 9 minutes left. That's just dying with a full stomach,
Mm.
right? It doesn't help you. That's a resource that you've got to use. So when you are at a position where you aren't sure what you're doing, just take the time. A lot of people tend to think that it's like if I have 10 minutes, I have to divide it by the number of moves I think the game will take and spend it evenly. You don't. What you need to do is spend your time in big chunks to understand what's going on. And then you're going to find that once you understand what's going on, you can play the next two, three, four moves pretty easily, pretty quickly, and make up that time. So we're going to be taking a look at your timestamps today and a little bit of the ways that you've played the opening. So, are you in your study?
How do I find that?
Okay, it should be at the top under learn and then study.
Excellent. Two. Okay. Studies I contribute to Pete's class. We found it.
Okay, excellent.
Excellent.
So we're on chapter 7 taking a look at your game.
Yes, we are.
I think this is the one that we may have covered last week.
Mm.
So you let me know when you aren't sure what's happening anymore. So you said you're in like prepared openings, right? Any of these
No, I
look
mean
like strange?
this was just me matching. All I did this game
Matching.
was just try to play symmetrical to what my opponent was doing.
Right, right, right. And we looked at this last week, right?
Hmm.
Um, that is not terrible of a strategy here
Right.
because what you're really doing is taking a claim of the board that is equivalent to what your opponent is taking. Every move, though, we want to make sure that there's no opponent threat here. And so this is the one where we saw that the bishop could be trapped, right? Do you remember this game?
Yes.
The thing to remember is that the pawns come in this way and block a bishop. So that was the theme of this game. And that's kind of where this imbalance is. For the audience, we'll go ahead and show how the bishop could have been trapped. It could have gone here and here and been trapped.
Yeah.
So I want to show you something that you did in this game that is pretty good, but I notice you do when you're white,
Mm.
which does not match. So you often match in the center with a pawn,
Hmm.
which is a really good idea. And then when a knight comes out, you play usually the knight that's next to the pawn.
Okay.
So this should be a pretty easy fix. We're going to take a look at openings with pawns. And instead, and I want to flip this board around, I think. And instead, we're going to take a look at some of the more typical openings with pawns. I want you to watch that knight that's next to the pawn that moves first. So in d4, d5, we have four common moves that are usually played. We've got c4, which is the pawn move. The bishop can come out to either of the two squares, or the king's knight will come out. Now, when the king's knight comes out, this guy,
Hmm.
That's usually like a waiting move. We're still going to do the other moves in a little bit. But what you've tended to do is play knight c3. And what knight c3 does is it blocks this c pawn from moving up the board. This c pawn is a very big contributor to the center of the board and attacking where black staked a claim. So in the future, we want to avoid what we call a pawn W, which is where a pawn structure, if you read it from like right to left, it goes like a pawn up and then a pawn back and then a pawn up and then a pawn back and a pawn up, like this across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Those tend to be very weakening and they don't work as a whole or as a system. So in this position, the most common move by far is c4. Does this position look familiar to you? Have you ever seen this before?
I don't think so.
Okay, this is the infamous Queen's Gambit, as the show is named, but this is an ancient opening that's been played, I can't even tell you, millions of times probably, and this is just the start. But when we have a pawn duo in the center, they have what I call interlocking fire. So a pawn goes like this, right?
Yes.
But they have this hole in front of them. Well, if they have a buddy next to them, that buddy actually covers the hole, and what we get is a solid wall of control across the front. So this is what we're striving for. And if you put your knight in front of the pawn, you can't get this.
Mm-hmm.
In particular, because the other pawn can't come up because that square is controlled by the enemy. So we have this, so that's blocked. Okay, so from now on...
But c4 is also controlled.
c4, true. However, we have a bishop looking at it. And in other lines, we will allow them to take it and we'll just recapture it.
Okay.
On d takes c4, we often just get something like e3. And then the most common move here is not something to control this pawn. In fact, you can see there's only a few ways to do so. So you... Why is that not letting me take that? Oh, because I'm not I'm losing connection to the board. Okay, there we go. So usually we'll just get the pawn back. So that's why black never takes this thing. I'll show you something real quick, though. Say black guards this pawn. We actually just continue the theme of C pawn, B pawn, we use A pawn. And then there's actually a very sneaky trap that happens here. And the rook is dead in the corner. Super, super common trap, one worth memorizing, but the theme is basically you just keep pulling pawns outside of the center. So we pulled a D pawn to the C file. So here we want to pull a B pawn to the A file. So we can do either one, but I like to take with the bishop and take with this with the queen later. But you see how we basically pulled the pawns out of the center? This is the kind of idea that we want to do when we're fighting with our pawns. Okay, we want to play like our pawns together, up, forward, in the center. So when we get something like c6, now we develop the knight behind the pawn. This is a big improvement upon your games where you've played the... We are going to get a kind of umbrella structure. This is what we want. Do you see how we kind of have this unfolding of the pawns like a door hinging?
Sort of.
Okay, so we started with pawns like this, right?
Yeah.
And now we're pivoted to having pawns that are like almost on a diagonal. In this particular instance, we could play c5. I wouldn't want to right now, but for strategic reasons that are quite deep. But the idea is that we want to turn our pawns into a diagonal.
Sure.
Okay.
That makes a lot of sense.
Here's another example of this on the other side of the board, e4. Now, I want you to be very careful because I've seen this in your games. There are these two...
Your audio is cutting out.
Yeah, I see that I keep going offline and disconnecting to Lee Chess. So maybe I'm having some issues this morning. I know we've got some storms in the area. Hopefully we can just power through it.
Okay.
So what I was saying is we don't want to do the same treatment to the king side, but sometimes we get an opening that is very similar. So this is called the French defense. And we see that black has staked a claim in the center, but notice how black's pawns are all in a diagonal, right? One way to respond to this is with the advance. We advance the pawn past the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And after some more moves, we get a beautiful looking connect four pawn chain. Notice how the knight is not interfering with the connection of the pawns. So after knight c6, we get some more pieces out, and we move some pawns. And finally, black will usually play c4 in this position. Notice how each side has a connect four game, right? Black is going to move all the pieces and pawns over to the queen side and try to break through. White is going to do the same on the king side. So this is the good pawn formation. This is what good opening play looks like for pawns. Okay, let's take a look at some of your games. Actually, I'm going to show you one more theme before we tee up what happens in your games. I've noticed the games you win tend to end in a back rank mate or a ladder checkmate. Did you learn that from somewhere?
I don't know what either of those terms are.
Okay, so you've heard the term rank and file, right?
So the rank is the number, and the file is the letter.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
A set of
okay.
squares going across the board is a rank, and the files are up and down.
Yeah.
So a back rank are these guys. Okay?
Yeah.
So this is a formation that you want to take note of. When the king is castled and the rook is missing, okay, there is oftentimes a very easy checkmate because these three pawns are blocked. All right, white to play mate in 1. Can you find the mate in 1 here? Sorry, excuse me, mate in 2, which is a point I'll bring up, but
B8.
right, we're going to play rook b8. And there are a lot of clearances here, but the game is already over. A lot of chess puzzles or something, or in real games, you're going to find pieces that can interfere, but then they could just be taken. So we'll block with the queen, but we just take that.
Yeah.
Chess puzzles love to be like, put a bishop here and you take it, and then put a queen here and you take it, and then put a knight here and you take it, and then it's mate. But you just mow down the whole rank until it's checkmate. So how do we find this? We look at the pawns here, blocking the king in, and then we say, oh, I just want to put a rook on the back rank. This is a simplistic example. There are more sophisticated examples of this, but for the black side, though, against the white king, I've also set up a similar formation here. This is another one. Notice that the two pawns are missing, but they're replaced by control by another piece. I could have equally put a knight on g4 that controls those two squares and creates the same effect.
Yeah.
Blocked, blocked, blocked. And because of that, we have a back rank threat. So let's make it black to move. Go like this. And we have two different mates in 2. This is a very thematic thing here. Can you find at least one and go ahead and make that move on the board? Mate in 2 for black. Right. And then the only move is a blocking thing, which is not protected. We eat that. Checkmate because these hold.
Yeah.
But an important formation that comes up over and over and over again is what I call a back rank bump. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take a king and we're going to note that it is controlling a back rank square. Right? We would love to go to f1. Unfortunately, the king is controlling it. So what we often can do when we want to attack the back rank is bump pieces off of control of those squares. So this king is controlling the f1 square, and we actually have a move here that bumps it away. This check. You will see this with a pawn here. You will see this with a knight. You will see this with a bishop. Or more importantly and more commonly, you'll see it with a rook all the way from f8. But any piece controlling that square is a big, 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 big signal that you need to put a queen there. So the only legal move, king in the corner, and that's mate. So this is a two-step process. Once we bump the king off of the control of the f1 square, and now it's open and available for us. So it's mate. Sometimes you'll even have a rook take this queen, but then your rook takes back and it's still mate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, does this pattern make sense? So there's three of
Yes.
them. 3 pawns, or we have the bump. Just like that, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So let's take a look at your games here and see how this comes up in your games.
It sounds like I get got by this all the time.
You either win a game with this or you lose a game with it.
Ah, okay.
It's pretty interesting how often it comes up. So you're doing well so far. I like that right here, White just decides to lose the game immediately. This is like rolling a cap and just like losing all your troops in the
Okay.
first turn. It's just like, here's a piece. Thank you very much. He checks you, and it is a very, very good thing that you have this pawn controlled. So you play the obvious move. This is a great idea. This is a great idea, getting a piece out instead of just moving your king. A lot of beginners would just run away. Developing a piece is great. Maybe, though, queen, because this is a threat of trading pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I want to bring up is you're up a piece, right? You're up a bishop. So probably you want to trade pieces. So this is a great, but your move is excellent and probably better. And then you spent a good 20 seconds on this move, which is the correct move. But can you explain what your thought process was here?
I'm trying to not
How
get
are you
checkmated.
deciding? You're trying not to get checkmated. That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
It's not a bad move, but we do want to try when we're up a piece to get our pieces out and active. So
You
I'm
think it's
thinking
more
that
of
the
a waste
best
of a
move
move?
is what?
You're saying it's a bit more of a waste of a move.
Little bit, but here's the thing: you have what's called a static advantage.
Yeah.
As long as you don't lose a knight or bishop, you still have that advantage. There are other ones called dynamic advantages, which disappear if you just don't act on them, like a lead in development. If you do nothing, your opponent will develop their pieces, and then you don't have the lead. But this is a static advantage. You're going to have it for the rest of the game as long as you don't. I mean, you could be 40 moves, and you're still going to be up a bishop if you want to be, if you're careful. So I just wanted to point out that this is a little bit better of a move because it helps to develop the bishop. This is another common thing I've noticed that you kind of miss in your games is that when you push that queen's pawn, the queen touches the center. So you're able to coordinate on these squares
100% I miss that.
with
I
the
miss that all
queen.
the time. Yeah.
Yeah. And what this helps do is develop a piece, right? Now imagine that we moved all the pieces around or something, and then the queen ends up back on this diagonal. Well, this time you have a bishop to block. So developing your pieces adds to your defense because it gives you more resources available to help save the king. So we have knight f3, and then you play an excellent move. I love that because it gets a bishop out. And then you're pretty much cleaning up here. So I'm surprised. This showed a lot of good skill here in these next couple moves, I noticed. I want to point out a little pause here. The first thing that should come to your mind when you see a position like this is that this knight is undefended. And it is attacked by a queen through the knight. So immediately we should be looking for ways to move this knight out of the way and take the knight. Unfortunately, there's not a good way to do that right now, but it's going to come up in a couple moves. We could try to take this pawn, but a quick calculation says the knight moves. So that's not good. But we do want to be looking for ways to move this knight to take this guy. And so you played a wonderful move that attacks it, and then for some reason he gives you another one. I don't know why. Now you're up 2 pieces. And this is where I really am proud of you. You took a moment here to think about the best move, and I think you took a while to play. Is this move you took a while to play, or the last one? But what was going through your head here?
Ooh. So I think his king is trapped.
You think his king is trapped?
Well, his king
Okay,
appears to be pretty trapped.
Yeah, how would you get to that, though? That's kind of a difficult thing to do.
Okay.
So what we want to do is we want to take note of the targets in the position. This is always our first thing. And in doing so, we are going to update what we had in the last turn. So this is how we fix our brain to play chess in the methodical way. So the first thing is, what is new about the position that from the last move? So what is now possible that
His
wasn't
bishop
possible
attacks mine.
before?
Yeah.
Yes. But what about yours? What can your pieces do that they couldn't do last move?
I mean, the same thing. I can take his bishop.
Exactly. It's a two-way street. So this is exactly where you would win or lose a game at lower levels, is just failing to notice that just because a pawn move doesn't mean that the pawn is the only thing going on in the position. So you took the bishop, which is great. You almost lost a game there if you didn't see that.
Oh yeah.
And so by noticing that, you're highly, improving already just by seeing that things are attacked.
Why would that have been so significant?
Why would it have losing a piece? Because he would have taken your bishop.
Oh, and I would have been able to defend it.
Then you lose a piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could win the game, but that's like these errors tend to cascade. You're up 2 pieces, but you're down. You lose one. Now you're up 1 piece. Then you lose another. Now you're down up no pieces. Then you're losing pawns.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a few games like that who start.
Yeah, well, there is.
Then I give it back. Yeah.
Yes, and then, but this is also why I tell you not to resign, because for the reverse reason, you could be down 2 pieces, then they lose one, then they lose another, then they lose a rook.
Too much. So.
Yeah, I did look at this game. I was going to come at you for it, and then I realized you're down like a queen and a bishop, and I'm like, maybe I just save that scolding for it. Let's wait till you resign in an even position to yell at you for it. But, okay. Oh no, I did it again. I always do that. So this is a famous thing on these sites is the down key and the right key are next to each other, and so if you hit the wrong one, it just throws the whole game away. So we were here. Good. I don't know. Do you see what you're threatening here? Did you do this move on purpose to make a threat, or is it accidental?
I think I advanced it just because I could get it further up without it being threatened.
Right. Okay. So you're threatening a very important fork. If you had played that,
I definitely didn't see that.
Right. So I didn't think so. So it's an accidental good move. But this goes back to the psychology of what I was telling you last week, is sometimes if you just play the right moves, accidents happen because you can, like a toddler mimicking people speaking, they're just learning to talk, if you just mimic what like masters do or what they tell you to do, sometimes you just get lucky and you find these things like this fork and I could take a rook just because you're moving a piece up and somebody told you move pieces up.
Right.
So
it's a good heuristic.
Now that comes with the threat. So I was going to say, if you did this on purpose, it's a good move. But if you did it accidentally, I would have preferred a bishop move.
Okay.
Why? Because your first instinct when this is a quiet position, this is a tranquil position. The pieces aren't out yet. You have a slight lead in development, but there's not a whole lot of material to cash in on yet and not a lot of weaknesses. So what I would be doing, my instinct just says, what's on the back rank? I just immediately just reach for the farthest back piece, something like this, and then I think maybe like rooks in the center, something like that. I was just putting pieces like out and where they belong. Now you came with a threat, but I wanted to see if you were doing it on purpose or accidentally. So he stops the fork with the knight. I thought this would be cool to just go like this and try to get the fork, but now we're talking like kind of advanced tactics. They don't necessarily work. So piece out, that's good. And now you're really going for it. Trading pieces is a good idea. You don't want to get trapped here. What I noticed, though, is that this could be taken and this could be taken. So I want to move through this game quickly. You develop your pieces and stuff, and you start taking things. This is great. Way to go. Right about, where is it? Right. Yeah. So here. You've got to be careful about undefending your pieces here. When you push this pawn, this knight becomes undeveloped. This goes back to what has changed in the position. What is now possible that is no longer possible, and the knight hanging is a big one. But right here, you had a chance. I'd like you to find a better move this time around.
For this exact move?
Yeah, you're about to lose a knight. Yeah, but this exact move.
Yeah, I remember this move. Right.
See?
I thought about this one for a while, didn't I?
Yeah, 2 minutes. 2 minutes, that's good.
I thought about this.
2 minutes you thought about this one. First of all, I'm super proud of you for doing that.
What did I come up with? It wasn't good, you're saying. Whatever I came up with was shitty.
Well, it loses. I mean, it loses. There, as far as I can tell, there's only one good way, one good move here. Um,
Advance to
so if you
C
don't find
what?
the one good move,
C5? No, because then I lose it to the rook.
okay,
Okay.
okay. So you're jumping around.
Yeah.
All right, but what if I told you 3 times today is the
What has
correct thing to do?
changed?
So tell me, what is what is the first thing we do?
Look at what has changed.
Okay, so what is possible for black that it was not possible on the previous move?
Nothing.
Nothing. Nothing.
I don't see it.
Okay, white moved the rook from E1 to
Yes.
D1, right?
Yes.
So that piece has changed to square control. All right? So it is now attacking the knight. That's the first thing we noticed is that it is
Yes.
attacking the knight. So what did it give up control of?
Pawn.
It did give up control of the pawn, but also 2 other squares.
Okay. Not the
It's now
pawn.
attacking these 3, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So what is it no longer attacking?
The E2 and 3. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. One of those squares is super important and involves the knight. Your knight is attacked.
Hmm. Oh, so if I put the knight on, I see. I put the knight on E2.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. You can show this to me, and I still don't see it. Okay,
Okay. But
but
then what?
it's
Okay,
the
we move
same.
the
It's
king.
the
Now
same
what?
fork as before. I take a rook.
It's the same fork as before.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. It's the same fork as before. You had it on, where was it
Multiple
actually?
times
It
this
was,
game. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. It was knight d4, right? Yeah, here. Oh, not there. Right there. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
right there. We point out this fork. Knight comes out to guard it, but your eyes should be like, how do I get this knight to move so that I can play the fork? Sorry, there's a misdraw. Yeah, and then later in the game, it turns out that he just gives it to you.
Mm-hmm.
Right there. Right there. So with 2 minutes on the clock, it's really, really good that you spent that time. But what that speaks to is inefficiency in thinking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Were you vacillating between like 2 or 3 different options during that 2 minutes? Were you
No,
like, maybe I play this?
I was going fuck, 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 and I didn't want to lose a knight. Instead of just continuing to try and push my advantage because I'm
Okay.
already in advantage.
Okay, so here's another tip for getting out of this kind of thing,
Yes.
right? I call this climbing the ladder. So there's a ladder of points for pieces, right? Pawns on the bottom is 1, and then the minor pieces, the bishop and knight, are 3, rook, queen, king, right? He's attacking a knight. So, in order to get out of this, you need to find a way to attack a rook, queen, or king. And if you just think in those terms, there's only one way to attack a king. Well, sorry, there are 2, but one is foolish.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those attacks a rook.
It seems like far and away the best possible move.
Yeah, and it's an instant find if you say what changed in the position, which was these are no longer controlled and these are, and how can I attack a king or a rook? And it's this. And then you find it. So this is the way that you find tactics, but the thought process is the most important thing. It's what can I do to take advantage of the space that was left behind by this rook moving away? What is attacked in the position? It's this knight and this one behind it. How do I attack something higher than that? So you lose the knight, which is okay because you still have another one. See, I told you though, right? Like you're up 2 pieces, you lose one. Now you're up 1 piece. Let's not lose it again. Excellent moving. I love your trading pieces here. The rest of the game is a very good cleanup. Did you figure this out on your own? How to make a passed pawn and queen it?
Horde. I told you I played a lot of Horde.
Horde, right. That's really good though. That's really, really good. So yeah, so I'll show you how is really you find a pawn majority. This is called a pawn majority. You have 3 on 2.
Yep.
right? You take the one that's unblocked and you assist it across the controlled square. So this square is controlled. You just get assistance for it, and you get exactly what you just did. Now you have a passer. That's how you make a passer. So on white side of the board, this would be the passer, in theory. It would go, you would just help it across this square with this move. And in order to do that, we'd play here, play here, play here.
Right.
Take.
Yeah.
Okay. There are other ways to do it, but like this, that's the primary way. Okay, take, take, take. Perfect. And then you just push your pawn up the board. He loses a rook. Excellent. I'm glad that he resigned here. That's pretty cool. We're going to move on to the next game. So what you did there is you won a bunch of pieces in the opening, but then you gave a couple back. But it's about that climbing the ladder of piece ranks. You want to move up that ladder.
Yeah.
Yeah, and keeping your eye on. Okay, here it is. There's our knight move that I'm talking about. We don't do this anymore. So what move is better here?
The opposing knight, the king side.
You could do that. That is the most popular move by far.
Or the C pawn.
Yeah.
C3.
Yeah, and to be honest, you're probably going to play one then the other.
Yeah.
Most likely. So, yeah. So in the future, we're going to play C4, and then we're going to look to have
not C3,
like
C4.
C4.
Okay.
You could play C3 if you want. That's a whole system itself.
Why do I like C4 over C3?
But then what we would be doing is trying to play this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, I'm not going to pick on the nuances of this at the 800 level.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't want to do this because there's D5 and there's E5, but like if E5 now you got to maybe take, and it's weird to have this pawn sticking out, but these are minutia. I want to get into that. So yeah, C4 or knight F3 and then C4. How about like knight F3 and D5 and something like this, get pieces out. You could do that as well. But what we're not going to do is put a knight in front of this pawn here.
Yeah, not yet.
So right, yeah. Let's play C4 so that he can't put a pawn in the center without us taking it. Now, wouldn't it be nice if this pawn could go up next to it? So when you see a pawn chain like this, two things need to be thought of. You either need to continue to go. You have connect 3. You want to get connect 4 or even 5. Okay, with this C pawn.
Mm-hmm.
Or you would like to hold up this pawn with its other pawn, the C pawn, put it here, and go the opposite way with E4 or E5. But when you see a pawn in the center like this, you either want to play one side or the other with your pawns. So this knight being in the way really hinders us from doing that. So let's cruise down the line. Right there. I think I would have much preferred like castle and get a new piece out. But I've noticed that a lot of players, when I tell them they need to develop their pieces, the beginner will develop one piece and then lose it, like you were doing a couple weeks ago, and then develop another piece and lose it.
Sure.
And as they get better, they develop like 2-3 pieces, like this, and then they lose it.
Then lose it. Yeah. Okay.
And I'm like, okay.
Think of the whole system.
All of the pieces. Develop all of the pieces. Yeah, I think when I was about 1500, 1600, I started, the thing that I really did to improve, I stopped attacking when I only had like 3 or 4 pieces out, and I would make sure that I got all of the pieces, all the rooks developed, the queen somewhere useful, then I attacked. And I ended up getting to like 1900, 2000 that way. Using all your pieces is definitely the way to go. So here you lost another piece that you spent 3 moves on. So don't. Is the answer there. But so this is the classic. Now, your homework was what this week?
Puzzles.
Yeah. Did you do the theme though?
I did not.
Oh, okay. So it was the F2, F7 weakness. And then I saw this move and I was like, okay, he was supposed to attack F7, not give them F2.
Mm-hmm.
So when you played this pawn in the center, the only point of this would be to like control this square here, but there's no reason why you would want to do that in this case. You would like them to open the center, but you're stopping this, but you're creating a massive, massive hole all around you here. I mean, these squares are getting holes punched in them, and this is the pawn W that we talked about at the beginning of the lesson. We have pawn up, pawn back, pawn up, pawn back. I guess it's an M from white's perspective, but it's a W from black's perspective. And so what that usually means is there's big holes that are weakly controlled. And so we traded another piece and castle, and we're going to notice the weakness that this causes. When you move your F pawn, there are 3 ways to get to the king, right? There's the file, there's the rank, and there's the diagonal. When you move your F pawn, you've weakened 2 of those. Furthermore, the rank becomes slightly weaker because now G3, you can't like close the file by pushing G3. Like imagine you played G3 and you had 2 pawns here guarding it. That's a pretty strong file. But now the G3 is slightly weaker because the F pawn is missing. So he's a very important guy. He needs to be back here guarding the king. Okay, no more F4 like this. So we're gonna notice what happens. Right. So right there, this is a simple blunder of a piece.
Right? Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't look good. But I want to note how this game ends. Is right here. Okay, so there it is. Whoop. G4. And now you've got all kinds of like holes. Okay. And when now your file is slightly weaker, your rank is pretty weak, and your king has no defenders around it. There's no troops on that capital. So we're going to go here, we're going to go here. And finally, this is what you missed, is black demonstrates to you why you don't move F pawns. If this F pawn were here, this mate would be a lot harder. If both of these pawns were back on their original squares, this queen would have no business being in here. And yet, like we could just play queen c3 and everything's guarded, no problems. But unfortunately, this is actually forced mate. So because these are missing. And now notice the weakness of the rank. A piece was able to jump from e2 to g2 directly because there's no f pawn in the way. So black slid here, slid here, slid here. It just made it do, and you couldn't even stop him because there's no pieces or pawns over there to do anything anymore. So by pushing F, the reason you really lost is, okay, you lost the knight. That's just a blunder of a piece, but like strategically and long term, these are easy fixes. Just don't push those pawns. Those guys stay here. Okay, so that's why you lost that one. And that's the kind of classic back rank mate. Okay, here it is again, our friend the knight in front of the c pawn. Let's not do that anymore. Okay, let's put the c pawn in front, this pawn here, and then we're going to get pieces out. You want these under your pawns. You want pawns leading the way because pieces who go in front of the pawns tend to get kicked back. So we want the c pawn first, then the knight. Crushing it. Yeah. This is a pretty good right here. Okay. Let's focus. Let's do it the correct way. What's changed in the position this turn?
Okay. So the knight now threatens my queen.
Correct.
And the bishop threatens my bishop.
Right. How many pieces are attacking the bishop right now? Total? Like how many captures could black make in a row?
I mean, the queen also hits that bishop.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a battery, right?
Yeah.
2. All right. How many pieces are we defending that bishop with?
1. Oh, okay. Not
2. 2. So yeah, so you notice that this queen is attacked, so it probably has to move. Unless we could take the knight, which we can't. So the queen has to move, and she is required for the defense of the bishop. Now, what squares did black give up? What squares did black used to control that black no longer controls?
E and G4.
Correct. So we have to move a queen, and you played queen e4. Okay? And unfortunately lost a bishop.
That gives up my bishop, right.
Let's find a better move.
G4.
I like queen g4 a lot better. Queen h4 would be good as well. But this carries the advantage of not only guarding the bishop, but attacking the knight.
Yeah.
So it would have been a better move here, not losing a piece. But so by slowing down and taking a
Yeah, I was
look,
going to
and
say I
let's see,
probably
you
didn't spend
played
enough time on that.
45 seconds, 45
Yeah,
seconds. But
too
if you're going
bad.
to go into a deliberate think as opposed to like an automatic think, if you're deliberately thinking, the first thing you should say is these squares are available to me.
Mhm.
This knight is undefended, and my bishop is attacked. These are the things you should be looking at. And then so you would say, oh, how can I move the queen, defend the bishop, and attack the knight?
Sure.
Okay, maybe h4. I'm not really sure. I'd have to think it out, but perhaps there's not much of a distinction anyway. Okay, so you're down a piece. Queen's got to move. We move. Okay, right here. Why this move? So are we up material or down material?
Right now, I think we're
Yeah,
down, right?
right. We're down that bishop. So this offers a trade of queens. This is something that black would like to do
Hmm.
because he's up a piece. So what we want to do is queen f3, I think. Unless I'm missing something. No, I don't think I am. Queen f3.
Hmm.
Now we're at least attacking a piece. So so it ties the queen to the defense of the knight. We might get our piece back. For instance, some blunder like this gets a piece back. Not forced, of course, but you have to play for what you have. So here's another one. Another blunder. Let's get my bishop out. Whoops. So like keeping pieces on the board allows you to have tricks. Playing like this allows him to take your queen, and now you don't have any tricks.
Yeah, but the that argument also works in reverse.
Well, right.
I'm not the one tricking anybody. Let's be real here.
Well, your opponents are equal to you,
Are
so
they?
they have the same sort of mind. I mean, they are. This person was rated 10 points higher than you. That's insignificant.
Yeah, yeah.
But the other thing I look at, if you really want to get into the strategic detail, is that I feel like this king is weak, and so weaker than my king. So I want to keep queens on
Okay.
simply because he's not castled, and even
No, I
if he
mean,
did
like,
castle, he'd be on an open file.
obviously, no disagreement, right? If they're up a piece, they want to trade. That makes
Usually,
yeah.
unless that piece is like an attacking
Some
piece that's
kind
in a
of
great
positional,
position and your piece
right?
sucks, but like two queens in the middle of the board, that's relatively equal.
Yeah.
Trade them off if you're
Offering a
black.
trade, offering a queen trade is a bad idea for me here.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, because this is like an equal trade. They're like equal value queens. They're not like one's buried in the corner and the other's strong and attacking a king. They're like relatively the same. So yeah, he would want to trade those off. So here's another queen trade offer. And now we do it ourselves. Oops. So let's not do that in the future. Okay, and here it is. The classic Pete on W.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we don't like this. So this is a bad formation in general. There are exceptions to this. I don't want to talk about the exceptions because they're strategically deep. What we would want to do would be something like get this queen out of the way and play this and something like that. Or the reverse, play it like this. So that we have a nice pawn arc. You can have a bridge, you can have a boat. Boat would be like pawns like this or something. You can have a boat, you can have a bridge, but what you can't have is a pawn W.
Okay.
You don't want to do this. Okay? So rest of the game is fairly straightforward. You're just down a piece, and there's another piece trade right here. And now we have broken pawns. And this is an example of why you don't want the W's, because now you have all these broken pawns separated from each other. Okay. And you clean up the game, and you almost have it. Where is this? There's a move right here where you can lose a piece, I think. And it's right there. Yeah, unfortunately. Okay. Right here. Black to move. There is a tactic here. Can you figure out the tactic? Let's do it. I'm going to prove that you can do this yourself. So first thing we look at is what has changed about the position.
Well, I've trapped my own rook.
Okay. So yeah, the rook is on e4. Okay. Next thing we look at is targets. So a target is the king. So I want you to do this. I want you to right click on all the targets. The target is the king, because if you capture it, you win. Or any undefended pieces. So I want you to, it's black to move, so I'd like you to highlight your own pieces.
Oh.
So the white pieces. So any undefended pieces, anything attacked and defended the same amount of times, and the king.
Sorry, attacked and defended the same amount of times?
Yeah, which includes the number 0. So if it's attacked and defended 0 times, that just means it's an undefended piece. Yeah, or more. It could also be more. You could attack, if it's attacked 3 times and defended none, that's also a target. What's not a target is things that are defended but aren't attacked. So for instance, this pawn is not a target because it is defended once and twice and attacked no times. Sorry, I erased your stuff. So this rook is not a target. It is not a target because it is defended once and attacked no times.
Okay.
So it's not a target. But you said the bishop.
Sure.
I'm going to give you this pawn. It's attacked and defended twice each. So it is a target. And one more thing. 2 more things. There's 2 more targets in the position.
I don't know.
Okay, the rook is undefended.
But it's not
And the
attacked.
h2 pawn is undefended. What's that?
But it's not, the rook's not being attacked.
No, but it is attacked and defended 0 times.
Okay.
So therefore it's a target because 0 equals 0.
Okay.
Right? So you can also look through pieces. So there is a move here that attacks 2 targets at the same time. And this is why we do the targeting. We've boiled down our calculation to just 4 squares. We cannot attack the king. We don't have any other pieces to do it. The knight cannot move to attack the king, so that's not the right answer. So the king is wrong. What can be attacked more?
How would I get the pawn more?
Well, you would need another piece because you already have 2 pieces hitting it. So do you have another piece that can attack that pawn in one move?
No.
No. So that pawn's wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any method by which we can attack the rook?
Yeah.
By a legal move?
Yeah, we can move the bishop to c6.
Right. We can move the bishop to c6. Okay, so that's an idea. It attacks the rook, but white will just move the rook. Okay, can we attack the bishop by any legal move?
b5.
Bishop b5?
Yeah.
Sure, that attacks it with the bishop. What else? Yeah, so it turns out the rook attacks the bishop.
Oh.
Provided we move the bishop.
Right.
Now, do you see any of those 2 things that just overlapped?
Oh, yeah. So bishop to c6 is a great move.
It is a double attack. Yeah. Yeah, it wins material. So the point of this lesson, the point of this part here is that you can, by force, find tactics like this if you just train enough to do it. All you have to do is note the targets. You say, what has changed in the position? This rook was heavily defended, right? And now it is undefended. If you're always watching the undefended pieces, you will find stuff like that move, the double attack stuff. It's just 2 attacks on undefended pieces. There's no way out of that. Black would win the game there. Unfortunately, you were white, but okay. And then I believe you end up winning this game. Let's see how you did it. You're down a piece, and you eventually force everything up the board. And that's it. He hangs a rook right there. Bang. This is why you don't resign. Because this is why you don't resign. He'll just give you a free rook. You're like, oh, there's no way I could get a queen back. And it's like, oh, I just took it for free. So, yeah. And then you end up winning the game here. I'll show the audience. Great maneuvering right here. This is scary. This attack twice. Okay. Just defend it. Don't be fancy. Just defend it. Okay, but you played pawn and then you queen. Excellent work. This is mate in 1. but you play mate in 2, which is fine by me. Last night I missed a mate in 1. I played mate in 3. A little bit silly. I'm not supposed to miss mate in 1, but I did. So
Wait till I need a third queen.
well, we're gonna work on that too. So
Yeah.
the lessons are so the big takeaways here are don't make the pawn W. Keep your F and G pawns at home. And when you're spending a lot of time thinking on a move, there's a methodical, forced way to do it. You find the targets in the position. You say what has changed in the position. What did they give up? And what are they attacking now? What are they doing that they weren't doing before? What are they no longer doing that they used to do? And if you put all those two things together, you find the moves like knight, fork, king, and rook. You find the bishop can attack the rooks while I lose a bishop. You're going to find that the queen can come in and checkmate you. And you're going to find all those tactics, and you're going to note, like you did find, that the bishops are seeing each other and should be taken or be taken. You did extremely well this week. I'm proud of you. These are taking effect. The fact that you're practicing and keep playing is you're showing improvement. I think you're going to be 900s very soon if you just focus. Slow down, take your time, and find the targets to do it the right way.
Sure.
I would love to check out my game this week.
Yes.
I'd like some coffee first, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to go get a refill, and I'll see you in 3 minutes.
So, what do you have for me?
Oh, well, I have a wonderful game, I think. It was one of the most fun games I've played in a long time. It was strategic, it was deep, it was psychological, it was topsy-turvy. It's the kind of thing that makes me come back to the game and see like what I could do better. I'm really excited to see what I did wrong. I guarantee you there are mistakes made and lessons to be learned, so you got to tell me what they are.
Well, you can try and find them. So this is an hour and 40 minutes.
Oh, no, it should be an hour.
Wrong link. This is
Yeah,
my
it should be
latest. Okay.
SHQ.
My latest, this one is, okay, and an hour. Perfect. Okay. So spawning in, let's take a look. 3-cap open. I love those. Those are great.
You know, I put this on and then I got recommended a video that said 3-cap open, and it turned out to be, I think, the one where you just win in like 10 minutes, in like 4 turns. And I was like, oh.
The rare event where I just went, ooh.
Why is that not for me?
Crazy center blizzards. Okay.
Yes. And I loved that because like there's no exact chokes, but everything's a 1 point. Everything's a 1 point.
Do you cap Rhine? Or do you cap Vienna? Or do you cap Dinarides? Ooh, you have great options.
I am in the late seat.
Yeah. That's okay. Rhine is okay. Dinarides is okay. Or Vienna is okay, but I think Dinarides is still probably the best cap. But there's a good argument to be made for all three. So Rhine, I would say, is in a vacuum the best cap.
Right.
But it gets a lot worse likely because someone's behind you.
Right.
Or because of that. Okay. So red caps Bavaria, which is great for them. So now you're pretty much forced Dinarides.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
well, fair enough. Do we see anyone else's caps?
We don't, but we will see where pink is on turn 1. He's in noob corner.
Okay.
And then we see basically we see a major hit by red.
All right, let's go to red's turn. So we see magenta starts and red is okay, rolls a cap.
Right.
Oh no, don't do that. Okay.
That's exactly what I said.
Yeah.
I said take your bonus. Don't do that.
Don't do that. All right. So red has an amazing cap, but the guy next to him also. So red got baited, right? This is the he got neighbor capped and he rolled at turn 1. Oh wow.
Yes.
So I see where this goes now. You have You get Normandy and Bavaria right now, or just one then
So
the other.
what do you think I should do here
Okay, so we're at the
on
beginning. We're
my
at the
first
beginning of your
turn?
first turn.
Okay, and we know where purple is, right? Purple took Russia with a cap stack.
Sure.
So we know that purple is like Georgia.
So I'm paused at your draft, your first draft.
Okay.
The best move here is to take Bavaria. And
Okay. I
we can
spent a lot of time thinking about if I wanted to take a bonus and let those two fight and have their caps, or if I wanted to
no,
take the caps and have no troops on the caps.
no. We want to take a cap here. The
Okay.
only question is, how do we get the other one before someone else gets it? So I'm seeing you put everything on a 2 and you roll the red 3, and then I want to see what we see.
Okay.
And you definitely do this. Yeah. And it's free. Okay, so you take that as well immediately. Because we have that
Right.
ancillary 2. So one of them can be a 5, one of them can be a 4. And this is just about the most gifted open you could ever hope for.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. I'm like, this is an easy win. This will be a 20-minute game. I'm going to have to play another one to get something to talk about. And then that does not happen.
Red's name is Defecate because he shat himself immediately turn 1. Wait, 15 a turn? This guy has Russia turn 1? Oh no. All right. And he saw all that, but he's not taking one of your caps.
Right.
Purple just hit a bunch. Oh no. Okay. And we have a power vacuum
So
in the middle of the board.
thank you. I'm so glad. Maybe I am channeling you
I think
when
you
I'm
are.
playing these
Yes.
games. I said purple is now taking Orient. He's going to be taking the +8. It is my job to disrupt that, because if I don't stop the purple snowball, no one will,
But turn 2
because of the power vacuum.
you didn't do it.
Well,
Okay,
I
let's
mean,
actually talk about
I
your turn
do.
2. Let's talk about your turn 2.
Okay.
Okay, so you saw that. You saw how crazy scary big purple is.
Right.
So I like taking Deneric Alps here.
Okay.
To use here. So we are drafting. He starts with 15. We are drafting, what is it, 9? 10?
Right.
No, just 9 for the 3 caps. Okay. So, what do you suppose he's guarding within Russia?
0.
Yeah. So 3 troops on Sevastopol gives you 100% on whatever that territory is. Kherson, I think.
Right.
And then you have a 3,
Right.
ideally, attacking,
Okay.
which costs him 7.
Right. Yes.
Seems good value.
So you would strike now.
I would heavily consider it.
Right.
Because purple sees 2 of your 3 caps.
Right.
And if he's getting +7 that he's now using to take a second bonus, so even if purple gets broken, they're going to be on, 6, 7 troops, but he's probably most of the way through Orient already. We don't exactly know where his cap is, or do we?
Well, we saw on the very first turn a 9 come out of Georgia.
Ah, okay.
So, like, if it isn't Georgia, then it's the one below that. But it's definitely.
But it
I mean,
doesn't.
I've deduced that it is Georgia.
Yeah, that doesn't protect anything.
Right.
I think an investment of 3 or 4 troops in Sevastopol here pays you dividends.
Damn.
Relative to putting them on capital, which I know is such a great heuristic usually. But your Dinarides cap is going to face pressure from purple, because it naturally benefits his position so much, right? He can have a 2-point with Dinarides and Benghazi, and then control half the map.
Correct.
And then you
I was
lose
afraid
the
of that.
game. Yeah.
and then my other problem here, though, is that red is mad at me, and for a moment I was thinking that it was black's capital who had gotten rolled.
Yeah.
because it was turn 1, I didn't see any troops yet from anybody, and so and the, on your first turn, you get extra troops if you're in the late positions.
Mhm.
So I was thinking it was black. I quickly figure out that it's actually orange's capital who I'm sitting on.
Well, red being mad at you is kind of neither here nor there because red is going to die. Um,
Right.
what your issue with this position is fundamentally that you're going to get squeezed from both ends. Right? You're going to get
Correct.
squeezed from purple, and you're getting squeezed by magenta, and both of them see you. Now he's clearing the +8. Oh yeah, right there, right. That little bit of tempo allows purple so much initiative over you, and he's just a little bit ahead in the turn order too, right? So
Right.
this is all like kind of a tempo thing. You go for him here, yeah, you break that.
So we have purple got the 22, and then did you already see orange's turn?
Yeah, orange in Africa.
Right.
We're now on your third turn. Oh, black's cap is what? Okay, so you give up Dinarides to break him, huh? And black's just sitting there with his
Well, do
thumb
you
up
think
his
that I
butt
should have hit the 7? Should I have hit that 7 or no?
on your third turn.
Yes.
Um, hmm. Okay, let's start turn 3 again. So turn 3 has been, we start with a lot now. We're not exactly keeping parity. We're at 13. We're not exactly
Right.
keeping parity with purple, but
Right. He's getting 22.
I think the turn I go at purple is a turn earlier. I think this turn it's
Mm.
already too late. So I think going at purple here is kind of a declaration of war, and taking another bonus and keeping your cap strong will allow purple more time to clean his position. But now you switch to defending Dinarides, which will still be good for you, I bet. We also don't know that black's cap is there.
Right. We didn't know that.
Yeah, and black is a useless do nothing master, I'm guessing.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. So black is going to he wants to sit here and stalemate the game, and let someone else just win it. Oh boy. Okay. You are in a
Right.
sticky
So,
situation here.
well, but realizing that black's capital is there, even if he doesn't do anything, means that purple can never have the +8. So at best, purple's at +22.
And it also means that purple has to worry about that. But you hit the 7
Right.
first because you hadn't seen any of that yet.
Right.
And in your head, you're like, well, someone has to deal with this guy. I think
Right.
those are really good instincts.
And the Orient is worth, what is it, 6?
6.
So I figure if I hit a 7, I'll lose 5.
Yeah.
So I am still taking away. And by the way, he doesn't have a 7 stack anymore. So I am actually hitting him for 13,
Yep.
and I'm losing 5.
Yeah, it's not a bad play.
So,
I'm just curious now, where do we go from here? Do you have timestamps for this? Or do you just
so
want to
the game is fairly short, and it's already edited down. You'll
Excellent.
see near the end where where things go long that it's actually cut. So, but we can skip through turns. I mean, red doesn't do a whole lot, and purple. The story of the game is really purple in me.
Yeah.
So on orange's turn, he's getting +15 on his 4th turn.
From having no caps? Lucky guy.
Right, which is
Yeah.
why I was very surprised that I was kind of very confused about who was off their cap. I was like, it can't be black, but it also can't be orange because orange is getting +15, and then it turns out he's got Spain and Africa, and so I lose a cap on turn 4.
Mhm.
And now it is my 4th turn, and I'm wondering what I should be doing here.
You lose a cap to orange?
To orange, yes.
What? He
I
gets his
know.
cap back? He comes through France. It gets
Yeah,
crazy good
he's got.
dice.
Yes.
Here he is. Okay. What? Okay. Hmm. All
I
right,
mean, we can
let's pause
complain
before
about
you're
the game, but
I'm not complaining. I'm thinking about how to min-max this. So you have a really good gifted start, but you're central. So what I'm actually seeing is I'm seeing not just the obvious noob corner position, but actually just nobody addressed orange.
right.
So you addressed one guy on one side of you, and it's almost like there's 4 positions, but purple has 2 of them. So I think you addressed the right guy, but you're now in a situation where you can't afford to address anybody. So I'm actually very curious to see what you do on this turn.
What should I do? Because I can A, take Germany,
Yeah.
B, fight purple, or C, take Italy.
I don't think you do any of that, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't think you do any of that. I think we need to suss out where red is.
Red is dead. Red is in Germany.
That's it, eh?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Sure he's not maybe in the
Fairly
bottom
sure,
of
yeah.
Italy or in Africa?
Fairly certain, yeah.
Because if we're confident, we just kill red. But
Okay.
all right, let's see what you do. I don't like this now. This has gone really badly. It was
Thank
good.
you.
It was good, and then it
Again,
wasn't.
a lot of people think I'm here for risk training. I'm actually here for risk validation.
I
want you to
understand.
tell me how bad I have it, how I'm the hero, that
I am
I don't
also
deserve these dice.
I'm also the hero. Okay, so we do kill red. Good. That's great.
Yay, I'm channeling Pete.
Yeah, that is great. Get out of here, red. You rolled a cap turn 1. You deserve nothing less.
Right.
How do we?
And it's always nice, like, to have at least the first person die, because then you're not getting 6th. Right? Now, worst I can do is 5th.
Well, I'm worried about orange continuing to noob slam you, because you're kind of sitting in between orange and magenta, so they're more likely to go at you than at each other, and you've also
Right.
pissed off purple.
So that's why I decide to fort the 16 back to capital. That way, if magenta comes down, he'll see a 14 cap and a 16 cap, and he'll make the obvious choice.
But well, he'll see the 16 cap first, though. He won't see the
Right.
14
I know.
cap yet.
I know.
So killing red is good because you get the set.
Right.
Taking Germany,
But
we don't
it is the
expect.
first set of the game, so
We don't expect Germany to hold.
right.
I'm
That's
now
why I
on
didn't roll
turn
the
5. Oh, you didn't even bother? Okay.
to roll the 2. I mean,
Yeah.
no, because I just think that it'll be wasting troops on something that isn't going to hold anyway, and I need those on cap.
Oh, you did hit the 2.
Not on the turn, but on
Netherlands.
a later turn. Yeah.
Yeah. This is
Yeah,
where
on
we're
my
at
turn
now.
5 because I have cards. And
Okay, so
I
we have
beat
do
the
nothing
cap.
master in the east.
Right.
All he knows how to do is take cards off of his capital. This guy plays for second from the very first turn.
Right.
Now we see magenta aggressively attacking. Is that attacking orange? Looks like, because purple just got 23.
So what that tells me is that pink has an exterior.
Yes, at the bottom
And
of
so
Italy.
I cannot take Italy, or else I force pink to be my problem.
That's right.
If I take Italy, I can't possibly do anything. I need them to exist exterior.
And purple goes into you from the only possible line they have to attack. Oh boy. Okay.
Which turn are you on? Or timestamp?
We're now watching you clean purple, and we realize that magenta no longer has the exterior. 15 minutes. Okay. Black sets guaranteed does nothing. I try not to be too judgy about the Capsack Pass air quotes master, but I've really found these guys to be the bane of my existence on these settings because they just don't know how to play. Right? They're not actually masters.
They aren't helping you. They're just a brick sitting in the way.
Oh, they're actively harming, in fact, right? Because they're taking trades. So they're sitting there not making kills, and they're allowing the total number of troops on the board to increase, making kills unprofitable and pretty much guaranteeing the game stalemates. When I can kill these guys, I will. I prioritize killing these guys.
I would love to do that.
Oh yeah, but you can't.
That would be fantastic. Right. So purple is on. They have 3 cards in there.
Capital. Yes, you get purple's capital. Good job.
There's a 17 sitting there, and a 23 coming through. So we know what kind of player purple is. Purple has no troops on capital.
Purple also reacted with a smiley face when you broke him after he broke you. Right. We will not be trucing with this guy.
Exactly.
Yeah, we are in
Exactly.
attrition. Yes. But purple now has no capital. So I'm guessing we start thinking about killing them. Oh no. Oh no. Oh my god. Magenta kills orange. Wow. So did purple try
Well,
and kill orange and fail?
yeah, you didn't see it either, huh?
Yeah, I didn't see that at
I'm
all.
hoping, yeah, because we forgot that he's got no troops.
Got no capital, right? Or he did. He got
Orange.
his one back, yeah.
Okay, but this tells us another thing, which is that Magenta knows what's up. Magenta knows how to play. Because how did they see the orange kill like that?
That's true.
I mean, it might not be true because they may have purple may have put them in to Scandinavia by removing the exterior, which I was trying not to do, and then maybe they got lucky on it, but I still think that means that Magenta knows how to play.
All right. So in this moment, 19 minutes and 50 seconds on the clock. We're about to go to your turn. I almost certainly give up Bavaria here.
Oh, you go one cap?
Yeah. I'm guessing you do not do that.
But then doesn't that just give the game to pink?
No. It lets pink fight purple instead of you.
Why would pink fight purple instead of me?
Well, he's going to fight everybody, but right now he can take that cap. So you try to work with him. You try to work with Magenta. You try to take Germany back and chill.
Right.
Does it work?
Well, I mean, a little bit.
Yeah, great.
It kind of works and it kind of doesn't. So,
but I also take your point about giving the game to him.
Right, because if he's holding Scandinavia and France and Spain and Iceland and Britain and Germany, then I'm next on the chopping block. He's not going to care that we work together. He's going to say, I'm getting 40 a turn. And then he's going to kill me. So I figure if he's going to kill me, he's just going to kill me. So let's see what we can do. And so when I have at time step 21, I see him going into purple.
Yeah.
And purple going into him. And I realize that if I can just stay in the middle like that, they can be a problem for each other. It's not like they just have animosity. Purple keeps breaking him. And so as long as they're using troops on each other, it lets me catch up a little bit.
Yeah, purple is just an overly aggressive dope. Okay. So he's going to piss off everyone. Oh, please tell me black doesn't get second this game. I really hope this is the actual thing that's going to make me happy, other than your victory, will be black not getting second this game. This is just infuriating me to watch. Right, him do literally nothing.
It is, right? Just doing nothing the whole game, doing nothing.
No, good read. Good read. You now have we now get to watch the war. Why does he hit you though? He doesn't know.
Okay, so you're on time step roughly 22 minutes and 23 minutes.
Yeah, 23 minutes. Magenta beats the shit out of you, but gives up the Normandy cap. What?
I don't get it either.
Okay.
Why does he go into me?
Yeah, because he doesn't know how to play.
What did I ever do? Is he just taking bonuses? Is he trying to get out? I mean, what's he doing? And then he breaks my Germany too, so I have no bonuses.
Right.
And none of it makes any sense. So why does he go back to cap? Why did he break everything I have?
Oh no.
Right. I do have to go to 5, right? I don't have cards.
But you take the third cap. I guess Magenta's
do you think I shouldn't have, or what?
Well,
so look, I
like bonuses here more than caps.
Yeah, well, here's the other thing: is pink just went into me.
Yes,
has 70 or something on cap.
But you're reading that. Why would he let you hold
Iceland, London, Scandinavia, France, Spain, Africa, Italy, and Denmark Alps.
Yeah.
Like, am I supposed to just not? Like, I have to break France, so I have to take a cap. It's not really an option to let pink hold that much territory. I'm thinking. Because he just attacked me.
Yeah, for sure.
So I do my best to just try to survive to 5 cards.
And somehow you do. I think if
Yeah,
you
I
were
mean,
playing
I
against me, I would have killed you.
have Yeah, I mean, but I
You're
mean, pick
people are
who's gonna
taking
kill me? Like,
people
who
are
would
taking
kill
no,
me?
they suck. People are taking pot shots at you, but they're not actually hurting you. And
Right.
you
Well, I mean, I have to survive on 5 because pink is only getting, like, 19 or something, so it's not even enough to take 1 cap.
we hit
I didn't
purple
understand
again.
why then magenta stops fighting me entirely. I didn't get it. Like, why didn't he break Dinaric Alps in Italy again on his turn?
No, he's card blocked. Did you card block him
Right.
on the
Well, of course I
caps?
did.
Oh my
I
god.
mean,
Tell me that's where he is. Oh, you dope, Magenta. What are you doing? Now he's manually your capital. Oh my god. How did he let himself get into this situation?
right.
Oh, this is
So,
hilarious.
I assume you already watch my turn at 27 minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
Fort's the 89 out. Do you give him a capital? Because now you're stuck, right? You're still getting pressured by these guys.
Right.
Hmm.
Right. But, we're in a healthy 4-player game here.
No, we're in a 3-player game.
Oh, we
We've
are?
been in a 3-player game this entire because Black
Right.
isn't doing anything. He isn't
Right.
he isn't playing the game. He just exists. I
Right.
mean, I'm
You won't
teasing,
even
but
go so far as to break Russia or take a bonus.
oh no, nothing. Nothing. He does literally nothing this entire. It's crazy to see.
Right.
Okay, so you give Magenta
People
that
just forget about
capital
him.
so that they don't have to roll your 35.
Right.
Do you truce because of this? Or does he keep trying to crawl up your ass?
A little bit of both. I think that pink is capricious and will just do whatever pink needs to do to survive.
Oh, so this is like
I don't
end
think
of
he
season
cares.
nonsense.
Maybe.
Yeah, people not
Oh, is
playing
that it?
seriously. Yeah. The last couple days of the season, like the last week or so, you start to see a lot of just like capricious is actually a great adjective. People
Thank you.
who know their rank points are resetting anyways,
Right.
and they're kind of off the threshold. So maybe Magenta's a master, but I don't think so. He isn't
Oh,
playing
that
very
reminds
well.
me. I guess I'm about to lose all my points, right? I like all the work I've put in to kind of climb up the expert ranks.
Well, what are you at?
About to be zeroed. Like 14,000.
Yeah, so can you get to 16K?
I guess. I guess I can try to.
Get to
It is
master before
Father's
the
Day
reset.
tomorrow, so I guess I get to do whatever I want.
That means
Unfortunately, the other thing I like to do other than play Risk is drink beer, so I think I'm gonna go do that.
no, the beer's good for the
But
risk.
yeah, maybe. I mean, it does make you
Oh,
foolhardy. It makes you take chances,
you
right?
go for purple, but you run out of
Oh, this is
time.
heartbreaking.
It
I'm still mad
is.
about this. It's in my nightmares.
Oh, and then D-Bag Magoo fucking rolls you. For the first thing he does is to fuck you over instead.
Uh-huh.
Who is this guy?
Uh-huh.
Oh my god.
Right?
This game is just a series of sequential tragedies. Please tell me that purple goes to 5. Please go to 5.
So
Oh, he does. Yes. Oh no. Oh my god.
I said.
I was so happy for a moment. Oh, I was so happy there.
Did you do this? Let me guess. You saw him plop down troops and he went,
Yeah.
and then he trades cards and he went,
Oh.
boo. I
Oh,
was like so freaking close. And I made a clicking error. I had that 22 stack
that's right.
in Orient. If I
Yeah.
brought that across, I could have finished purple that turn, but I used the
Absolutely.
wrong stack. And it's just like, I can't believe it. I mean, I have a 23 stack and I get off a cap, right? So Black has finally, and the ironic thing is that's Black's first bonus of the game.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Mine.
He doesn't stop the guy next to him.
Right.
Now he goes into purple? No, he just steals another bonus.
So have you seen my turn at 36 minutes?
We're going to go to your turn at 36 minutes. You have 1 capital. Purple is accosting you and holding the entire east, and black is enabling. Yep. And magenta has half their troops out, half their troops on their back capital, I imagine. Purple's also hitting black. Okay, I'm just reading the board before we go to the timestamp because I want to understand. Okay, what do you do here? So before you start with 10 troops, and you have a 10, you have a set on 3, and it's a 90 set. Okay, I see you pop it down. So you're going into purple. You're going to kill purple here, aren't you?
Of course I am.
Good. All right, make him die.
Right.
Excellent. Excellent. You probably go flat on this kill, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. Right. But like, I can't afford to let him live. Cannot suffer this fool to live. And he's got 3 cards. So it is a joker. Yay. Not that I knew that or something. But once again, my turn ends off cap for some reason. I'm
oh
just not
boy.
fast enough.
Ah,
I'm thinking.
well, you made the kill, so, but it didn't give.
Right.
Yeah, this man had a joker. I'm glad he's dead. Realistically, like that guy
Mhm.
was. All 3 of these guys are the worst. I highly dislike your opponents this
Hey.
game. No, you're the hero.
Yay.
Yeah, yeah. Come on, you know how this works.
Yeah, so I just yeah, but black, I figured at this stage of the game, since black is a do nothing,
Mm.
he'll do nothing to me.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that. He's already stolen a capital from you.
Well, yes, but that was opportunistic because he was undefended. It
No,
wasn't like he
when he
hates me.
rolled your cap, it had like a decent amount on it, didn't it?
Um,
30 something? He rolled a 30 cap?
no, I got caught off. My turn ended off cap
Ah,
because I
he
failed to kill,
stole a
and then he
free cap.
smashed a 20 off cap, and he took like one. He took a undefended capital because of my troops were off cap.
You're unnecessarily fighting with Magenta, but they're instigating.
Right.
Okay, so
So
let's
basically,
pause.
I
Let's
figure I
pause
just
at
have
the
to.
end of 3930. So this is the end of your turn. I want to illustrate a scenario here because we are in a
Okay.
three-player game
Right.
with both of our opponents are antagonistic, and
Hmm.
we're in the middle.
Right.
This is just for everyone listening. This is the perfect opportunity to lose a game. Okay, you cannot beat 2v1 in Risk unless you are so much more massively large. It has nothing to do with skill, right? This is far more psychological than skillful. Any 2 players of middling ability should be able to beat the best player in the world. So your job right here at 3930 is to try and figure
Hmm.
out, how do I get these 2 guys to hit each other? And you probably hear me
Well, I
ask
have
this
to make
question
them
a
have a
lot.
border.
That's right.
Right.
But you just deleted that border. You just ran the line between magenta and black, such that you
Mhm.
put yourself back in the middle and split them up.
Okay.
So that's just one thing that we want to kind of pay attention to. I think a little bit of moderation on um, how hard we're going to hit magenta. I mean, you could have card blocked magenta, maybe. No, he's on 4 cards. I think it will be interesting for me to see how you get out of this scenario, because this scenario still looks like Doom.
Okay. You think I'm taking third?
Well, I mean, I know you're not, but it looks bad, man. It looks like you're still taking pressure from both sides. You dealt with one guy who was in the east, and now you're dealing with another. He just set on 3. He takes a bunch of board and
Right.
then fist bumps you. What? Magenta
Yeah.
skips. Okay. Magenta skips and hides. So black is happy that you're card blocking magenta,
Right. Right.
but he's set to do that. He's set to pull back. Okay.
So, and then you watch Pink's turn at 40 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
He does nothing. He
Yeah.
gives me a capital for some reason.
Yeah, he pulls back instead of
I
out.
don't understand this.
He sucks.
He's trying to lose?
Yes. Well, he isn't trying to lose. He doesn't understand. This is a misunderstanding of the mode. So magenta in his
Okay.
mind is like, okay, we are in a 3-player scenario. They're fighting over there. I'm going to let them fight, and I'm going to hide back there. What they're missing is how important cards are at this stage in the game. Magenta hasn't been able to
So,
work with you either.
right. Magenta has been betraying everybody for everything and didn't hit black when he could have.
Yeah.
And so I really, really, really wanted to figure out a way to work with Magenta here, but like the fact that he retreated from his capital instead of fording off
Yeah.
troops
Yeah, he's dead.
said that that didn't work. He went back to Scandinavia instead
Yeah.
of coming out to like whatever, what would that be, like Marseille or something like that. Um, letting me have the cap. He could have let me have the cap and said, "I want to go around you and I'll help you," but he didn't. So he retreated back to Scandinavia, which tells me he's not going to help me. So now on my turn at 42 minutes, we're approaching the end of the meaningful game here.
Mm-hmm.
At 42 minutes, um, we establish a certain pattern here on my turn. So I put 6 and I take Africa and I say, we're going to trade in Orient.
Mm-hmm.
I fist bump black to say, I know what's up. And then I take a card in Orient and I say, we're trading in your bonus to see if he's okay with that.
Yeah, and he is.
And he is. And so
Yeah.
what I end up doing from here on out is that same pattern of repeat while pink passes. Unfortunately, pink has like hundreds of troops, 200, 300 on cap. So it's going to take forever to do that. And that's fine. So at this point, I'd like to ask what I'm supposed to do.
In this
Because if
situation?
I have poor, yeah. I
It looks
mean,
like
we
you're
know what the
doing it.
balance is. We know it's cap, stack, and pass. We know it's take a card in Orient, break
Yeah.
him, and I get broke, and then, he takes it back. So is there a way that I can advance my game here?
You're doing
Or am I
you're
doing what
doing
I'm
it.
supposed to do?
Yeah. Like, first of all, we wouldn't be in this mess if black played.
Right. Right.
So, just to illustrate, like, black's playstyle has essentially ensured that the game reaches this stable state where um, card and pass, card blocking is going to end. Now, it looks like you kill magenta eventually on one card, which is very expensive. But
So I scatter troops internally. My
okay,
strategy here was scatter troops internally. Um, if you go to like, I don't know, anywhere in the middle of the game, like 46 minutes,
okay,
you'll see what my strategy was, and I explain this is that I am going to force black to take a card in Libya. When he does that, I will have a 48 stack there waiting, or whatever the stack will be at that point, to take that back. And that'll be my card. And then he's card blocked on Greece. At that point, the only card he'll be able to have is the one in Denark Alps, Venice. And then he'll have to decide whether to hit my big stack in Italy. And if he does, and he runs down into Africa, he'll see another big stack there. And I'm hoping that he'll run out of cards there. I will restore whatever he does, and I will stand in Italy, and he'll be card blocked. That was the idea. While, yes, I do have to kill magenta on one card, the thing is it set me. And I was trying to figure out like the card order of when I should kill him and when not. I did not, though, smash the capital. He actually stepped off cap. So I killed 500 in the field, not in the capital.
he's stalling
for one card. He is stalling.
Okay. Wouldn't it be great if the game protected us from that?
Wouldn't that be nice? It did give me time to think. I am comfortable in a strategy game being alone with my thoughts. I am a chess player after all. I could sit there for hours and think.
Well,
and,
but you see, there's
I
nothing
like
to
do.
think about. I don't like. Okay, so I'll just out with it. I don't like what you're doing. I understand.
Man.
I understand the rationale, but let me just tell you why I don't like it. So you have a understanding with black. Another thing that irks me to no end about the end games on these settings is a flip. So if black gets wise that you're going to break out of the trading pattern and thinks you're going to flip on magenta and start working with magenta against him, or just starts hitting you and then magenta starts hitting you, you know what I mean? This is how you're going to lose this game. So the thinking about trying to put yourself into an advantageous position for the 1v1, love it. But the how really matters. So
how do we do it?
Well, I see what you've done here is you've put now enough cards on magenta that they can't really take cards on you.
Right.
Which I guess you just ran out of patience and opened their cap.
I think I had to check it. Yeah.
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 Oh,
no. What ended up happening is that a server disconnected.
And you
I finished my turn. I fortified back to capital, and then the server disconnected, and then when I reconnected, my troops were still there, and my turn was over.
Mhm.
So I never intended to stack on Denmark. What I wanted him to do, because he only has one card, is maybe take one
Take
more,
a couple more
and then
cards before you kill him.
fine.
Yes, absolutely. Great. That's a great
But
idea.
the game screwed me up because it didn't let me fortify back, because I did fortify back, and then when I reconnected, it was not
Okay, so
there.
we missed the satisfying kill on Magenta, but now Magenta is dead.
Well, yeah, because I had to take it. My timer was running, and I had to hit record again. Because what I just started to do, we passed. You see the jump cuts here.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't going to make anybody watch me cap stack and pass for however many turns that was, like 20.
Okay, so here's where
And
the
with
50
Magenta stalling the entire time.
here's where
I'm
the
1
50
minute.
pays off. So we're at 51 minutes 42. Your plan of letting Black take a card to try and force his only real card to be off the 826 cap.
Right.
This is good. This is like if he runs up through the 52, then he'll be forced to make a tough call about whether or not he wants to roll the 3-3-1. But he has enough troops to do it. If Black is good enough, he can put himself in a better position than you, I think, by taking Bavaria. I'm guessing he isn't, or he doesn't do that.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like do or die here
It
at the
is.
end. It's like, who's going to hold? Like, somebody has to hold the line, and if either line breaks, we're done for. Um, Important to note is that in Orient there is a hidden 70 stack.
Yep.
So I can't take that card and open that stack. So you'll see at 52 minutes and 20 seconds how it all goes down.
He goes the wrong way. He doesn't go for Bavaria, and that's it for Black's game. Yeah.
I would love to say that. I would love to say that is how it went down.
No?
So he's actually really, really, really proficient at this part of the game. I'm not sure how I messed this up and what I could have done better here. I actually am not able to hold any card block. So if you see a method by which I could do it, please let me know.
Oh, okay. Well, we're over attacking now.
Who is? I am?
You, yes.
Mm,
You can reverse him.
okay.
So now we go to 54-30.
Okay.
Does he not give you a card? Italy. Your card is in Italy. Okay, so 54-53, you have a set plus a joker. So you're actually in a great spot here.
Right. Yeah.
And what... let's see what you do, and then let's talk through what you could have done. So we had 190 troops to Vienna. We definitely don't open his capital. Yeah, we split there, I like. Okay, we're putting about... I don't think you're splitting off quite enough troops.
Right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's no actual reason to attack this much.
Okay.
Okay, so I see what you did, and I see what you're thinking. At this stage in the game, cards are worth far, far, far more than the bonuses. He has 348 off-cap stack. That 348 off-cap stack guarantees him those 3 cards, unless you're willing to risk the 465. So I think on your turn, let's see what we do here. On your turn, we can set, and I think add everything to Vienna and kind of like split it equally between Vienna and Venice. Right? So it'll be 190 troops. So it's like nearly 100 troops on Vienna, nearly 100 troops on Venice.
Okay.
And then
So you're talking about after he's got the 90s on me and I set, right?
No, I'm talking about 55-18. This turn when you set, because we know we have a joker.
Right.
Okay? So I like the block here on it's a 2-point block on Trieste and you don't Rome, right? So he doesn't get cards from Italy. He doesn't get cards from Generic Alps. The Fortify is off your 465 cap.
Okay.
So what is 100%? 348 is 100% roll on. I don't know.
One
Let's actually
160,
160. Yeah, balance splits calculator.
something like that.
Okay, let's see. 160.
That's my
So,
guess.
troops on attacking territory 348. Troops on defending 160, and it's a capital. It's 100% roll. Okay, what about 170? 100% roll.
Okay, well, it maybe 200.
We're close to 200 troops. Okay, so I want to leave about 200 troops back on that cap. Yeah, 200 troops, it drops to a
Okay.
60% roll. So if you fortify out 250 of your 465, that
Uh-huh.
ruins one of his cards,
Right.
or he blitzes it.
Right.
But we have a follow-up set allowing us to clear that line next turn.
So I didn't set the block hard enough. I
Yeah,
was trying to break his bonuses not because I didn't want him to have the troops, but because I it makes a block stronger because now like if they're getting 35 a turn, then you need like 43. But if they're getting 50 a turn, then you need not just a couple more, you need 70 on everything. And that's a lot more troops for you. So that's why I was trying to break him on all these different points. But I guess I see your point, whereas I was holding a 2-point block and now I made it a 4.
yeah. And
And that division doesn't work for me.
does he have significantly more troops than you?
I think so,
Yeah.
because I think he's got 100 or 200 on every cap.
So this is the other problem.
Because remember, he had 800 or
For
something
sure. Yeah.
earlier.
I like what you're trying to do, but I think he can brute force this. Oh yeah, and that 63 and Jordan burns you. You open caps. Okay.
Yep.
And now we're in really big trouble.
Yeah, I was opening caps. I was hoping that there was something where like he left one of the caps. He had fortified troops from one of the back caps and wouldn't think I would check. And that was a gamble, and it wasn't to be had.
Mm-hmm.
So you think that even after I've done this, that like when I take Italy, I could have still done something here to prevent the loss, or
Once
because I
you,
also don't have any cards.
once you move into well, you needed to get rid of that 348 in Gascony.
Right.
Yeah. Once you get into this situation, he's able to actually effectively leverage his extra troops. And you gave him a bunch of cards and he gives them right back.
Right. And I knew he would do that too. I knew that if I opened up all of his caps, that he would close them again. He wouldn't be able to resist doing that. So it was kind of like a psychological strategic gambit there. I mean, I did that on purpose.
Yeah.
I knew I was opening up his caps, but I knew he would close them again. So it wouldn't really matter.
And we step off. Yeah. So I think black wins a lot of games like this. They have absolutely no ability to play a short game. And
Okay.
they demonstrate that, right? It's possible that black actually just prefers this. This is what he likes. He likes that
Right.
sort of end game where card blocking is what does it.
Hmm.
It's difficult for me to empathize with, but I also don't presume to tell anybody how they should be playing. This style, though, runs up against mine in a very antagonistic way. I don't know that I could have done anything about it this game, other than try and get magenta hitting black.
Okay.
That's sort of the key takeaway, I think, is that magenta was aggressive, purple was aggressive, but you always put yourself in the position where you were the one getting hit. You took a lot of initiative this game, which I like.
Yay! I did
Yes.
bust up purple, and I channeled you,
You busted
and I
up a
killed red.
lot of people. You didn't stand for anyone's nonsense. It got you second.
I killed red myself.
Oh yeah,
I killed purple twice.
killed purple twice. That's
So, and then I
right.
killed pink.
Yeah. I
So
think
I,
I
I
think
figure three.
reading the magenta expert and purple intermediate, both overly aggressive. Um, the real level up here is, can we point their sword at not me? And how would I go
Okay.
about doing that? That's you hear me ask myself that question a lot. Is like, um, how do I get these guys to hit each other?
Right. Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
one of the ways you do it is by making sure that they have as many borders and as many chances to hate each other's guts more than they hate you in the 3 player.
Okay. Okay.
I think by the
Okay. So
time you
I
were the one who was 100% card block on magenta, that end was almost a certain loss.
Yeah, and I thought about just sitting there. I'm catching up in cards in troops because I'm getting like 40 a turn against black's 36. So I'm like, I could have just done +4, +4, +4 till the end of time and then had more troops than black. But I didn't want to.
But that
I
doesn't mean
didn't want it that
anything
bad.
in terms of the ratio, right? At some point, someone's
What's
gonna
that?
have to kill
Yeah.
magenta,
Right.
and the person who does goes negative.
Well, the fact that he was stalling meant that there was no chance I was going to allow him to live.
Yeah.
I mean, he stalled a minute for 30 minutes.
Yep, that's your
So
life.
I
You
was
don't get
not
that
going
back.
to ever even entertain the idea of leaving him alive. Plus he hit me. So I
Well,
couldn't work with him, I didn't think.
take it the other way though. Black also stalled. Black not playing put you into that situation as much as magenta stalling. Right now, Black
Interesting.
wouldn't think of it that way because he either lacks the ability to know how to snowball games or maybe prefers to play like this. But seeing the end of the game, it might tell me that like this is just a choice that this guy
Right.
makes, right? But
Right. Because he
I
definitely has the splitting skill, the speed skill, the knowledge of card blocking skill and stuff like that.
I
So
feel like
it's
I
not
would
like
have
he doesn't
played
know how to play.
I feel like I would have played this game more aggressively than you and got a lower
Oh,
placement than second. That's what I'm saying. I think you did better than I would have done in this scenario. if,
okay.
if we're just talking strictly in terms of placement, but as far
Yeah.
as how to
Oh,
win
well,
this game, you needed to get out of the you were just holding yourself in the middle, and you needed to get out of the way somehow.
okay. So in that 1v1,
Mm.
you're saying basically I could have blocked on 2 points instead of 4, not broken or taken Africa and Spain, and then basically just let him take his extra 3 cards and survived on that?
So let's go back to 55 minutes where you're about to put 190 troops in. He's putting in about 50 a turn. So if we block 100 and 100 on Venice and Vienna, that's our card. Our card is Venice. And we fortify the 333 out, then we actually have a real good shot at rolling his 348 and punching through next turn. Maybe you keep the 465 cap full, but you completely step off the 333. We need
Okay.
to punch through Gascony. We need to block on Gascony. So it's like a 3-point block. Venice, Vienna, and Gascony. And then he's not getting any other
Okay.
cards because you have a set on 3. This is your chance to try and insist on a block. And every turn you can, that's whatever it is. 75 something troops that they're not getting.
Okay, so my blocks were just too weak and too many because you divide by that many
Exactly.
troops, and you just don't get anything. So I can let him actually have Africa, basically
Yeah, and
Africa.
I think
and that.
this will be easier for you to do, right? Because you have fewer blocks with larger numbers,
Right.
which will be easier for you to manage. Will be less technical splitting, but you do kind of have to plan that out ahead of time. Where do you want
Well,
to
I
block?
had 20 minutes fighting pink to do that. Like maybe what I should have done is put some more before killing magenta, just like keep stacking on Venice until it's a 400 instead of a 200 there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess I could just watch the video and start counting troops again. and see what I could have done. But
Yep.
the
I
other
like this
idea was
game.
maybe I could have left Pink alone for a couple more turns because he fortified to what is that? It's like Finland or something. It's next to Russia, but it's part of Scandinavia. It's
Finland,
like
yeah.
where Finland would be. Um, so that's where he left his troops. Maybe I take all of Noob Corner and then sit on the capital with Pink still alive. I don't know.
Let him out.
Another idea. Yeah, because if he takes a second card, I kill him then. He can't get a cap, so it doesn't matter where he goes, he'll always be off cap.
Right.
So,
yeah.
But, you know, he annoyed me, so whatever. He's dead, and I'm glad.
I'm glad he's dead. Yeah, absolutely. All right, well played. What are we looking forward to for next week?
Oh, I hope to show you a victory.
Yep.
I'm good next week. So,
do you have any homework for me?
Yes, I want you to do a puzzle storm or puzzle rush. I want you to remember the back rank mates that I showed you. I want you to go to, is it puzzle race or puzzle streak? Yeah, I want you to do puzzle streak. It's under puzzles. Okay. You should be able to get pretty far in those, I would think, before you mess them up.
Sure.
Yeah, hopefully you can get pretty far. You can also set a puzzle theme if you want, but as long as you're doing some of those tactical puzzles, you should be pretty good.
Sounds good to me, man.
Okay, let me know you do. I'll be watching. I'm always watching. Lead
Yes.
chess, Risk.
I should post
when you're in the shower. I'm always there.
Oh no, don't do that.
What? Oh, now you tell me.
Yes.
Now you tell me.
Okay,
all right, Peteman. Hope you have a great week.
To you as well.
And a happy. Well, I hope you call your dad tomorrow. Do you guys have Father's Day on the same day in Canada?
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's the same day.
I'm getting him deli.
Okay. You're getting him deli. Excellent.
Getting him some deli food. It's gonna be good.
Enjoy that family time, and I'll see you next week.
To you as well.
All right. Bye.
Bye.